I thought I'd kick things off with a longer than normal part. Okay, so here's Celice, Sigurd and Deirdre's son, who is a junior lord, and he got the Nihil skill from his mother. He has Major Baldo and Minor Narga blood, which means he'll be having slightly higher resistance than your average physical fighter. And yeah, as you'll see here, he's got Sigurd's Silver Sword, which retains its kill count, which is good. Be sure to equip that. And now here's Lakche, Ira's daughter, who is basically Ira, but even more awesome, as if that were possible. Now, since I paired Ira with Holland, she's got Astra and Luna. Shame the two can't activate at the same time, though. Still, she's a pretty insane fighter. Like, seriously, if you thought Ira was good, just wait till you see Lakche. Now, of course, most of the enemies here are axe users. And yeah, here's Sakasar, Ira's son, who, in my case, will be functioning as basically a better version of Holland. Now, yeah, you can get some optional conversations at this point with some of the children to explain a few backstory details, and you get a couple of stat boosts out of it. This mostly just establishes their characters and yes, as this conversation says, Ira is not confirmed to have survived the Battle of Bahara. Of course, she's not confirmed to be dead either. Yeah, you get a luck boost out of that conversation. But she's actually the only first-generation female who is not confirmed to have survived Bahara. But I like to think Ira's still out there somewhere in hiding. And this is Rana, Edain's daughter, who actually, yeah, has minor Ulia like her mother, and a couple of skills from Midale, but she'll basically be serving the same role as her mother did. But she's a pretty good healer anyway. Right, now finally time to see some action. It's a bit weird after all those epic battles with armies of promoted units, now having to fight low-level axe users like the beginning of most Fire Emblem games. Of course, it actually makes sense that most of these guys are axe users because it's the Dozzle army, and, well, they kind of favour axe users. Now, that sand there will cut down evasion, just like the desert, annoyingly. Although it's also mostly a road as well. Yeah, a couple of separate enemy phases. And now, finally time to show off some of these guys. Okay, just... you'll see in a moment that Lakche is pretty crazy. Hero Sword inherited, plus Astra and Luna. Yeah. Of course, also paired with Holland, they have Major Odo blood instead of Minor. Of course, unfortunately, they can't actually use the legendary weapon associated with Odo because, well, it can't be traded. But it does give them ridiculously overkilled skill growth, and more importantly, one of the most insane HP growths in the game and possibly the entire series. Like, just, they get +2s to HP quite often. I think the growth is over 150. So yeah, Lakche basically destroys everything. Don't know why these enemies are ganging up on her. I think they think her defense is lower or something. No, they don't stand a chance. You'll want to get that Hero Sword lots of kills though, because once it hits 50, then she can critical as well. And that's just... yeah. And that can be combined with Astra. Of course, the Ira and Noish pairing gives you that combination right off the bat. But I don't know, I just like Iron Holland from a story perspective, and because I just like the brokenness of having Astra and Luna at the same time. Well, not so much brokenness, it's just pretty amusing. And Celice actually got hit by a pretty low chance there, so... well, at least good experience for Rana. Now, you don't want to be taking on too many enemies at once here, because you don't have many characters. But that's about to change, because we're getting reinforcements. Yeah, this brings me back to the prologue, where we got reinforcements just about every turn. Now, I'll explain who these guys are in a little bit. Yes, Lester is Rana's brother, and thus Edain's son. And yes, that there with the moustache is Oifey. He's grown a lot since the first generation. So, yeah, this guy is Delmud, Lakche's son, and heavily implied to be Beowulf's as well. Coming with an auto A in swords because of Hazel Blood, and getting the pursuit, and also charisma, which is very useful. So keep him near your other characters. I passed on a silver sword just because it helps. And here's Lester, yeah, as I said before, Edain's son, who gets an A rank in bows right from the beginning because of Ulia blood. Finally, the mother's Ulia blood is being put to good use. And here is Oifey. He was 14 to 15 in the first generation. Yeah, he has minor Baldo blood, and the pursuit and critical skills. So, yeah, as I was saying, he was 14 to 15 in the first generation, so he's in his early 30s now. And Oifey is the closest thing to a Jigen archetype you'll be getting in this game, but don't let that fool you. He's actually pretty decent, and since he was the first Jigen archetype character who doesn't end up total crap, some fans have taken to making a sub-archetype Oifey, which is assigned to Jigen characters who actually end up good, like Seth and Titania. Of course, the problem Oifey does have is, there is a certain other paladin we'll be getting a little bit later who kind of outclasses him. And that's an understatement, but anyway. Yeah, just making sure to let Sakasar get some kills, don't want his sister to hold everything. And yeah, I'll just have Celice right over there. I think it's best to let these guys come to us. If we go charging headlong into them, then we're probably going to get slaughtered. Despite the fact that these guys are pretty crap. So, 3 axemen and a bow armor, and an axe armor, and, well, we should be taking on the group of 4 before those guys. Thankfully, we have a lot more characters now, so it shouldn't be too hard to wipe them out in a single phase. Now... okay, I'll probably explain that later. Okay, just watch the ranges of these guys, and try to avoid getting on the road, because I don't like minus 10% evasion. Ow. Okay, who wants an easy kill? Who wants an easy kill? Yeah, Sakasar. And yes, you'll notice that... okay, here we go, right. See, he has Astra too, which is good. And he'll have that no matter what pairing you make, so... they'll always be awesome, Irish children. One of the cases where you want to make sure Ira is paired no matter what, and, well, speaking of being awesome, that there was just a sibling critical bonus. Yes, it works like the lover combination attack that I showed a bit in the first generation. If 2 siblings stand next to each other and attack, there's a chance they'll get an automatic critical. Now, just showing off the fact that I passed down the iron cutter here. Oifey has one too, which is pretty useful. Now, the thing about the sibling critical attack, it is actually possible to do it in the first generation, between Sigurd and Ethelred, but it's quite rare that that actually happens. Now, of course, you have a lot more possible ways to do it. Yeah, I want to get rid of this guy. And just show off the silver bow. Even though I pretty much didn't need it there. I always had this dilemma over whether to attack with the silver bow or the hero bow or the killer bow. And yeah, here's another optional conversation. Yeah, so actually, Edain is alive and well, and she's actually at that very castle you were at the beginning. Unfortunately, she doesn't actually make a physical appearance. They don't mention the father, however. Probably to keep it open, just because several different pairings are possible. Now, a fitting way to end this part. Conversation between Celice and Oifey, and the theme that's playing here, this is actually Celice's theme, although it's kind of Sigurd's as well. Well, they obviously can't send forces to Augustria and Silesia. But yeah, I haven't quite explained this. It certainly is a problem that word of Celice's whereabouts got out, because he is technically more of an heir to the throne of Granbel than Alvis is. Since he is the son of the former princess. This theme's amazing. Anyway. Okay, so now these guys have started to think, right, things aren't going as well as we planned, let's send in reinforcements. But that's not going to help them, because the second generation characters are just too awesome. Here's another guy who obviously has a death wish, and... Great, good application of Luna there. So you can see both of those skills working. Right, now let's see how Delmud fights. Unfortunately, that Iron Cutter is not very good against non-armoured enemies. Oh, crap. Stupid bow, guys. Oh, good thing she dodged that. Anyway, more fighting in the next part. See you then.